What's up, guys? Welcome back. 10:45 on Wednesday morning. In the first session, did a slight rotation, sold a little bit. About 10:30 on this chart. It's Eastern time. It was 7:30 on the West Coast. It was about 278 was where QQQ was trading, and then immediately after, I put those trades through and sold a little bit of Square and a little bit of AMD. Just trimmed, took some profits, and Domino's. There was immediately, like within 5 minutes, a tweet that the news was back on, or the stimulus was back on in sorts. I think it's going to be too targeted for a lot of. We'll see how it ends up shaking out. We're going to stay long the market overall because it's still, you know, we're playing way longer through this election. There's times where I want to make sure I'm holding things that are going to work no matter what, and I get more defensive in those positions. One thing that I want to do right now is first let's take a look at our positions. We're up $788. The market is we're trailing the mark. We're trailing the Nasdaq just slightly today. We had a big position. Square was our top position. That ended up being a bad sale. Let it go like 179, I think. We still have a basis in the low 150s. But just wanted to be responsible and trim and manage and kind of rotate. Looking at the amount of cash we have now, we have $5,700. What I want to do with this is I've talked to a few people about some smaller cap stocks that are lower price tags, and I went through the entire Russell 3000, and I skimmed through the performance over the last 2 weeks, 90 days, and full year. Mostly companies that have been up at least 100%, but most of these are up 1, 2, 300% over the last year. And then they've also been working over the last 2 weeks and the last quarter. So those time frames indicate that it's just a healthy story that continues to grow. So what I want to do is I want to take that $5,700, and rather than buy a small cap index fund, I'm going to create a small cap index fund just within our portfolio. And we're going to do really small, like $500 positions, and we're going to do, probably 8 of them. And we'll have a small cap core that has a little bit more long-term upside, and these are more speculative. I've checked most of the financials on these, and the performance has been great. I want to own companies in this growth stage. To me, a small cap is 500 million to 5 billion. Once you get to 5 billion, 5 billion to 25 billion is mid cap. It's kind of these companies are so huge now that, Apple is, a couple $1 trillion. Amazon's, essentially a couple $1 trillion. That there's companies that are in that Tesla, Nvidia, half a trillion range. That's that's a large cap or mega. Then you have the megas, large, mid, and then these smalls are really, most people will say under $1 billion is a small cap, but I think now with how things are valued, under 5 billion is a small company, and any company that's worth less than $5 billion, I want them to be able to, once they're over a billion, I would like their PE to at least be close to zero or outrageously high, like Celsius Holdings, which means that there's at least some profit in the divisor. If things have a zero PE, it means they're losing money. So, Atomera, that company's done really well, but they're losing money, which is okay for a small company. Once a company gets bigger and bigger, you're going to want, for a company that is worth 50 billion to 500 billion, I want their PE to be between 30 and 80, because it means that they're growing. Looking at just the PE of these small caps, I can tell just by looking at what phase they're at in their maturity, and what the premium that investors are putting on their growth. So Celsius is clearly it's a young company that has recently become marginally profitable, and the chart has been crazy strong. So this is one that I think we're going to start with. And then we'll be real disciplined about keeping these right at 500. There's our ding. Finally figured it out. Another company, same story, has strong growth. Kind of pre-screened these, and this is a company that has had tremendous growth over the last couple of years. Good grief. We're going to play small, so we're just being speculative. This is definitely one we're going to add to our small cap group. So the effect of this will be we'll have more positions, even though the weighting will still be higher towards NVIDIA. We're just kind of spreading out some of the money from Domino's and Square, rolling it into some smaller cap. We always want growth, and we always want companies that are making money or have a path to money. This guy at all-time highs. What's going on with your chart here, guy? Okay. Another one. Some of these charts get kind of dicey, but we're just going to stay with our plan of riding some of these small winners. We're going to have a really tight stop on these. I'm not going to lose more than all right, focus one thing at a time. We're not going to lose more than 5% on any of these positions. So we'll let them go. We might even go through putting on stop limits on these, because these are really just speculative positions to balance out where some of the momentum in the market. The small caps are rocking, and this is really a bet on the U.S. economy just continuing to be, on solid footing. So we have some small caps coming in. The rest of the day looks, pretty good. We're just continuing to see what the market's doing. This is a good example of a company that has gone from 4 billion to 13 billion, 14 billion. This is one we keep talking about. It just has so much momentum, it feels impossible to even get on. It hasn't taken a breather at all. Let's hop over to DraftKings getting killed. Didn't want to do that. We'll hop back in here. I know some of you guys have made some money in this, which is great. And that's what we'll do for now on our small cap episode of the Money School live stream. Over 45,000. 3,700 in buying power. One other position I wanted to add to is I wanted to add to some DocuSign. And you can tell our other positions are still quite a bit bigger. And then I want to add a little bit of Tesla. Okay, so we'll just keep managing our top positions and keep adding, building out our micros, our small caps on the bottom. We're just going to start $500 positions and we'll see which one of those can double the fastest. Thanks again for your support. The Money School, probably the last live stream of the day, but who knows? If the market's crazy, you might manage the top. We're just going to keep Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia at that top, and then the next tier down is Amazon, Adobe, DocuSign, and we'll probably restructure that to have a clear delineation between those two tiers of our A's and B's, and then the small caps at the bottom, which are just more speculative and kind of by request. I normally don't like to invest in those companies too heavily, but I think there's a place for them in your portfolio if you're willing to keep an eye on what you're doing. And these small ones, you can make a lot, you can lose a lot. Typically, I like stocks that I feel confident I'm not going to lose any money in. If I go broke with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Jensen Huang and Jack Dorsey, then okay, that's just, I came out on the wrong side of things. I'm not going to go broke owning Celsius Holdings, and I'll give up getting rich off of it as well. But let's participate in the story, see where things go. And then we'll keep adding in. I know that there's a lot of demand for stocks that are under, $30, $40, even for, fractional accounts. It's just psychologically, I know people like to be invested in stocks that are a little lower dollar price. So we'll put a focus on that, just to have some quality ones and make sure that if we're going to be speculative with some lower stock price companies, that the underlying fundamentals are still growing and going to a place where those companies can eventually either get acquired or double or triple or quadruple. And that's what we want to have, at least part of our portfolio exposed to that. So long term, what we've done today is we've trimmed some square. We cut dominoes on the news that there was going to be no stimulus. Immediately, that was a bad call because the stimulus came back. And to put that money back to work, we've deployed it into some small caps and then bought a little bit more Tesla and bought a little bit more DocuSign. So thanks again for your support, Money School. Have a good rest of your Wednesday, and I'll talk to you soon.